My name is Ethan Brooks, and for most of my life, I believed every strange noise had a logical explanation. Old houses creak, pipes groan, wood expands. The dead stay dead. At least that's what I believed until I spent 3 nights in the house on Willow Creek Road. 3 nights. That's all it took to destroy everything I thought I knew. It started when my uncle died. He was a quiet man who lived alone in a massive Victorian house hidden deep in the forests of northern Pennsylvania. Nobody visited him much. Nobody wanted to. Locals called it the Whispering House, not because it was haunted, at least not officially. People simply claimed they heard voices coming from beneath the floor. My uncle always laughed at those stories. Then he died, suddenly, in his sleep. As his only living relative, I inherited the property. The plan was simple. Drive there, clean it out, sell it, leave. I arrived just before sunset. The house stood at the end of a narrow dirt road surrounded by towering trees. It looked abandoned, despite being well maintained. The windows reflected the dying sunlight like black mirrors. The moment I stepped out of my truck, I felt something strange. Silence. No birds, no insects, no wind. The forest was completely still, as though everything alive was holding its breath. I unlocked the front door and entered. Dust floated through golden rays of sunlight. The air smelled old. Not rotten. Not moldy. Just old. Like something trapped in time. I spent the evening exploring. Everything seemed normal. Family photographs lined the walls. Books filled the shelves. Furniture sat exactly where it had been for decades. Then I noticed something odd. Every room had rugs. Large rugs. Placed directly in the center of the floor. Almost as if they were covering something. I shrugged it off. Old people decorate strangely. That night, I slept in the upstairs guest room. At exactly 2:17 a.m., I woke up. Someone was whispering. At first, I thought I was dreaming. The voice was faint, barely audible. I sat up, listened. The whisper continued. A man's voice, soft, desperate, coming from below, from beneath the floorboards. I froze. The voice seemed to say, "Help me." My heart started pounding. I climbed out of bed and pressed my ear against the wooden floor. The whisper became clearer. "Help me." Then another voice joined it, a woman's voice. Then another, and another. Dozens, hundreds, all whispering the same thing. "Help us." I stumbled backward. Suddenly, everything stopped. Silence. Complete silence. I didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, I convinced myself I had imagined it. Stress, grief, an overactive imagination. I spent the day sorting through my uncle's belongings. Late that afternoon, I found a locked wooden chest hidden in the attic. Inside were journals, dozens of them. Every journal belonged to my uncle. The earliest entries were normal. Gardening notes, weather observations, family events. Then, 20 years ago, the writing changed. One entry read, "The voices returned last night." Another, "They are louder beneath the kitchen." A year later, I made the mistake of listening. Then, they know my name now. I felt a chill crawl through my body. The final entry was written just 3 days before his death. They are almost through. That's all it said. Nothing else. No explanation. No goodbye. Just those 4 words. They are almost through. That night, I decided to leave. But a storm rolled in. Rain hammered the roof. Trees bent violently in the wind. Driving through the forest would have been dangerous. So I stayed. Big mistake. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the whispering returned. Only this time, it was louder. Much louder. I grabbed a flashlight and forced myself downstairs. The voices seemed to be coming from the living room, specifically from beneath the large rug in the center. I pulled the rug aside. Underneath was a wooden trapdoor. My stomach dropped. I had walked over it all day without noticing. The whispering grew frantic. Help us. Help us. Help us. My hands trembled as I opened the hatch. A narrow staircase descended into darkness. The smell hit me instantly. Wet earth. Decay. Something ancient. I should have closed the door. I should have run. Instead, I went down. The staircase led to a dirt cellar. The room was enormous, far larger than should have fit beneath the house. The walls disappeared into darkness. My flashlight beam swept across the ground, and I saw them. Scratch marks. Thousands of scratch marks covering every surface, as though countless hands had clawed at the earth. Then my light landed on something else. Names. Hundreds of names carved into the walls. Some were decades old. Others looked fresh. I recognized one immediately. My uncle's name, carved deeply into the dirt. Below it were 3 words. Don't let them out. The whispering stopped. The silence was worse. Then I heard movement behind me. Slow, dragging footsteps. I turned. Nobody there. But something was breathing. A wet, rattling breath. Somewhere in the darkness. My flashlight flickered. The beam dimmed. And for a split second, I saw faces. Hundreds of pale faces emerging from the walls. Human faces fused into the dirt. Eyes open. Mouths moving. Whispering. My flashlight died completely. Darkness swallowed everything. Then something grabbed my ankle. I screamed. The grip felt ice cold, like a dead hand. I kicked wildly and broke free. Then I ran, up the stairs, through the trapdoor, slamming it shut behind me. The voices exploded beneath the floor, screaming, begging, crying. The entire house shook. Floorboards rattled, windows shattered. And from below came a single voice louder than all the others. A voice that sounded exactly like my uncle. Ethan. 1. Then something slammed against the trapdoor. Once. Twice. 3 times. The wood splintered. I grabbed my truck keys and bolted out the front door. As I reached the driveway, I looked back. The lights inside the house were turning on one by one. Every window glowing. Figures stood behind the glass, watching me. Hundreds of them. I jumped into my truck and sped away. The next morning, police accompanied me back to the property. The house was gone. Completely gone. Not burned, not collapsed. Gone. All that remained was an enormous crater in the ground, as though the earth had swallowed it whole. Investigators never found an explanation. No debris, no foundation, nothing. The house simply vanished. Years passed. I tried to move on, tried to forget. Then, last month, I received a package. No return address. Inside was one of my uncle's journals. A journal I had never seen before. Only one page had writing. It said, "The voices are not trapped beneath the house. The house was trapping them." Below that was a final sentence, written in shaky handwriting. "Now they are free." I stared at those words for a long time. Then I heard something. A faint whisper, coming from beneath my apartment floor. Soft. Desperate. Growing louder every night. And every night, they say the same thing. "Help us." The worst part? Last night, one of the voices said my name. My name is Daniel Harper, and if you're hearing this story, then I'm probably already dead. I know that sounds dramatic. I wish it were. Everything I'm about to tell you happened last October in a small farming town outside of Iowa. A place so quiet that people never locked their doors. A place where everyone knew everyone. A place where nothing bad ever happened. Until the corn started screaming. It began after the harvest season. The cornfield stretched for miles around town. Huge walls of dry stalks that towered over your head. At night, they looked like endless golden tunnels leading into darkness. Most people avoided walking through them after sunset. Not because they were haunted, but because it was easy to get lost. At least, that's what everyone thought. The first person to disappear was 12-year-old Tommy Jenkins. One evening, he rode his bicycle to a friend's house. He never arrived. The police searched all night. The next morning, they found his bicycle lying beside a cornfield. The bike wasn't damaged. It was simply placed there, like someone had set it down carefully. Tommy was never found. A week later, another person vanished. Then, another. Then, another. Every disappearance happened near the fields. Every victim vanished without a trace. No footprints, no blood, no signs of struggle. Just gone. The town became terrified. Parents stopped letting children play outside. Businesses closed before dark. Nobody wanted to be alone. I worked as a deputy sheriff at the time. Most people thought a serial killer was responsible. I did too, at first. Then I saw something. Something that still wakes me up screaming. One night, I was patrolling a dirt road near Miller Farm. Around midnight, I noticed movement in the field. At first, I thought it was a deer. Then I saw how tall it was. At least 8 feet, maybe taller. It moved between the stalks. Fast. Far too fast. I stopped the patrol car. The headlights illuminated part of the field. For a moment, everything was still. Then hundreds of stalks bent simultaneously. Something enormous was running through them, coming toward me. I slammed the car into reverse. The thing stopped. The field became silent again. Completely silent. Then, I heard it. A voice. A little boy's voice. "Help me." My blood turned to ice. The voice sounded exactly like Tommy Jenkins, the missing child. It came from inside the cornfield. I grabbed my flashlight. Against every survival instinct I had, I stepped into the field. The stalks closed around me instantly. The deeper I went, the darker it became. The moonlight disappeared. The world became a maze of dead plants. Then, I heard Tommy's voice again. Closer. "Please help me." I followed it. 5 minutes later, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't getting closer. No matter how far I walked, the voice remained the same distance away. Then, another voice joined it. A woman's voice. Crying. Then a man's voice. Begging. Then dozens more. All coming from different directions. All pleading for help. The flashlight suddenly flickered. I froze. Something was moving nearby. Heavy footsteps. Crunching stalks. Slow. Deliberate. Circling me. I swung the light around. Nothing. Then the beam landed on a face. Only it wasn't attached to a body. A human face was hanging from a cornstalk. Its eyes were open. Its mouth moved. "Run!" the face whispered. Then it screamed. The entire field erupted with screaming. Thousands of voices. Children, women, men, all shrieking at once. The sound was unbearable. I dropped my flashlight. And then I saw it, standing 20 feet away, watching me. The thing looked human. Almost. Its body was impossibly thin. Its arms stretched nearly to the ground. Its skin resembled dried corn husks. And where its face should have been, there were hundreds of human faces growing from its head. Faces twisting and writhing. Faces crying. Faces screaming. Faces begging. Each one belonged to someone who had disappeared. Then, all the faces turned toward me at the same time and smiled. I ran. I don't remember finding my way out. I only remember bursting from the field and collapsing beside my patrol car. When backup arrived, I told nobody what I had seen, because I knew how insane it sounded. The disappearances continued. More people vanished. The town began dying. Families moved away. Stores closed. Fear consumed everyone. Then, Halloween arrived, and everything became worse. That night, a storm rolled over town. Power lines failed. The entire area plunged into darkness. At 11:47 p.m., emergency calls flooded dispatch. People reported screaming coming from every cornfield. Not one field, every field. I was part of the response team. We gathered near Miller Farm. More than 30 officers, armed and prepared. Nothing could have prepared us. The screaming grew louder. The stalks began moving. Thousands of them swaying violently, despite there being no wind. Then shapes emerged. human shapes, walking from the fields. Hundreds of them. At first we thought they were survivors, missing people finally returning. Then they stepped into the light, and we realized they weren't people anymore. Their bodies were hollow, like dried shells.
Their eyes were empty black holes. Their mouths hung open unnaturally wide. And from inside each mouth came dozens of voices speaking simultaneously. Every missing person speaking through the same body. The officers opened fire. It did nothing. The creatures kept coming. One deputy was dragged screaming into the field. Another simply vanished, pulled beneath the stalks, as though the earth itself had swallowed him. Then the giant appeared, the thing with the 100 faces, towering above the corn. Its body stretched nearly 15 feet tall now, and every face began screaming. The sound shattered windows. Vehicles flipped. People collapsed, clutching their ears. Blood poured from noses and eyes. I looked directly at the creature, and one face caught my attention. A face I recognized. My younger sister. She had disappeared years earlier, 40 miles away. No trace, no explanation. Gone. Now her face stared at me, tears streaming down her cheeks. She mouthed 2 words. Kill it. Then the monster lunged. What happened next remains classified. Officially, a gas explosion destroyed part of Miller Farm. Unofficially, we burned the entire field. Every acre. Every stalk. Everything. The fire burned for 3 days. When it finally ended, the creature was gone. So were the screams. The disappearances stopped. The town slowly recovered. People tried to move on, pretend none of it happened. For nearly 10 years, everything remained quiet. Until last week. I was driving through Nebraska, hundreds of miles away, when I noticed something beside the highway. A cornfield. Perfectly ordinary. Except for one thing. Every stalk in the field was facing the road. Every single one. As though they were watching passing cars. Then my radio crackled. A voice emerged through the static. Soft. Familiar. Terrified. My sister's voice. Daniel. I nearly crashed. Then she whispered one final sentence. A sentence I pray never to hear again. It's spreading. The radio died. The field began moving. And something very tall stood up among the corn, watching me. Smiling. If you ever find yourself driving through endless cornfields at night, and you hear someone calling your name, keep driving. Don't stop. Don't look. And whatever you do, don't answer. Because the thing in the cornfield is always hungry, and it's still looking for new faces. My name is Daniel Carter, and for 12 years I worked night security at a shopping mall outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Most people think security work is exciting. It's not. 99% of the job is boredom. You walk empty hallways, watch camera feeds, check locked doors, tell teenagers to stop skateboarding near entrances. That's it. The strange thing about my story
is that it started on the most ordinary night imaginable. A Tuesday in November, cold rain, almost no customers. Nothing unusual. At least, that's what I thought. The mall closed at 9 p.m. By 10, every store employee had left. The corridors were silent. Only the cleaning crew remained. I sat in the security office, watching over 80 camera feeds. Around 10:47 p.m., movement appeared on camera 32. A man was walking through the food court. That wasn't unusual by itself. Employees occasionally forgot something and came back. But this man wasn't wearing a uniform, and he wasn't carrying keys. He was simply walking, slowly, like he had all the time in the world. I radioed my partner. "Hey, Rick, you see this guy?" A few seconds passed. Then, "What guy?" I pointed at the monitor. "Food court." Silence. "I don't see anyone." I laughed. "Monitor 32. More silence. Then, "Dan, monitor 32 is empty."
I looked from the screen to the hallway outside the office, then back again. The man was still there, walking. I switched to another camera angle. The food court appeared empty. Back to camera 32. The man returned, standing perfectly still, looking directly into the camera. A cold sensation ran through me, because the camera was mounted 20 feet high. No normal person would even notice it. Yet somehow he was staring straight into the lens. Straight at me.
I zoomed in. The image became grainy, but I could make out details. Black coat, dark hair, pale skin, and eyes. Something about the eyes felt wrong. Not glowing, not supernatural. Just wrong. Like a photograph where someone had edited them slightly, but not enough to explain why they looked unsettling. Then, the screen flickered. For less than a second. When the image returned, the man was gone. I checked every nearby camera. Nothing. No sign of him entering a store, no sign of him leaving. Just gone. My partner arrived at the office. "What happened?" I showed him the recording. He watched carefully, then looked confused. "Dan, there's nobody here." "What?" I rewound it. The man was clearly visible, at least to me. Rick shook his head. "The food court is empty." I felt my stomach tighten. "You serious?" "Very." That should have been the end. But it wasn't. The next night, he appeared again. 10:47 p.m. Exactly. Same camera, same location. Standing motionless. Watching. This time, I immediately saved the footage. Then I called the mall manager. When she arrived, I played it. She stared at the monitor. What am I supposed to be looking at? My mouth went dry. She couldn't see him either. Over the next week, I became obsessed. Every night, 10:47 p.m., the man appeared. Only on camera 32. Only visible to me. Each appearance lasted exactly 3 minutes, not a second longer. Then he'd disappear. I started recording the monitor with my phone. The figure showed up there too. Finally, proof. I sent the videos to friends. Every single one called me, concerned, asking if I was okay. Because according to them, the videos showed an empty food court. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating properly. I began questioning my own sanity. Maybe I was losing my mind. Maybe stress was causing hallucinations. Then, something happened that changed everything. On the 12th night, the man moved. Instead of standing still, he raised one arm and pointed directly behind me. I spun around. The security office was empty. When I looked back at the monitor, the man was gone. But something else appeared. Words written across the screen. 5 words. Check camera 12 now. My heart hammered. I switched feeds. Camera 12 overlooked a service hallway. The hallway should have been empty. It wasn't. A little girl stood there, maybe 7 years old, barefoot, wearing a white dress. I radioed every guard immediately. We searched the entire mall. The girl was nowhere. No footprints, no security logs, no sign she had ever been there. Yet all of us had seen her. For the first time, other people witnessed something strange. The footage was saved. Police reviewed it. The girl was visible, clearly visible, unlike the man. A detective discovered something unsettling. 3 years earlier, a 7-year-old girl had vanished from the mall. Never found. Her name was Emily Harper. The girl on camera 12 looked exactly like her. Same dress, same hair, same age, as if no time had passed. The police dismissed it as a coincidence. I didn't, because the next night, the man returned. 10:47 p.m. Same place. This time, he wasn't looking at me. He was looking down, at something on the floor. I zoomed in. There appeared to be writing. When I enhanced the image later, I could read it. 3 numbers. Nobody knew what they meant until a maintenance worker recognized them. Storage room 417. A room that had been sealed for years after water damage. The police opened it. Inside, they discovered a hidden crawl space. And inside that crawl space, they found Emily Harper's remains. The story exploded across local news. The mall tried to keep my name out of it. Police couldn't explain how the clue had appeared, or who had written it. The official report never mentioned Camera 32. Never mentioned the man. As far as the public knows, an anonymous tip led investigators there. But that's not what happened. I know, because I was there. After Emily was found, the appearances stopped. No more man. No more messages. No more strange activity. For nearly a year. Then, one night, Camera 32 activated again. 10:47 p.m. The man was back. Only this time, he wasn't alone. There were others standing behind him. At least 20. Men, women, children. All staring into the camera. All silent. All motionless. And every one of them matched photographs of missing people from the area dating back nearly 40 years. The screen flickered. When it returned, they were gone. Except for one. The man. For the first time, he smiled. Then he leaned toward the camera. His lips moved. No sound came through. But I knew exactly what he said, because I read it clearly. We found the rest. The feed went black. Camera 32 permanently failed that night. Technicians replaced every wire, every circuit board, and eventually the entire camera. It never worked again. To this day, nobody can explain why. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had ignored that first sighting, if I had looked away, if I had convinced myself I was imagining things. Because one thing still bothers me. The police found Emily because of the clues, which means someone or something wanted her found. And if that's true, who exactly was standing in front of camera 32? And what happened to the others they said they found? Because no bodies were ever discovered after that final message.